Hey, how you doing? Why a mid-length? We've all experienced it. You're out on your shortboard in small waves. Maybe you're unfit, you haven't had a surf in a while. The groms are riding waves, scooting past you without a care in the world. The longboarders, the surfers on mid-lengths and foamies, they're paddling past you, catching waves on the outside, riding them in, and then doing it again and again. Meanwhile, even if you get a crack at a wave, you can't get onto it. Not enough paddle speed. Or even if you get onto it, you can't get enough speed up to get down the line and the wave leaves you behind, while somebody further down the line picks it up. Frustrating. So what to do? Put up with it? Or get yourself a longboard that will paddle easier and get you into waves earlier. Of course, longboards have always offered you that option. So have mini-mows, but they don't give you the kind of maneuverability that you get from a shortboard. That's where mid-lengths come in. The advent of the mid-length isn't new. In fact, GNS surfboard shaper Skip Fry came up with it when he developed the modern machines shape in 1974. In more recent times, with the increase in the number of surfers, mid-lengths have really taken off. They're easier to paddle, you can duck dive them, and they suit a range of waves from 2 foot to well overhead for some. And they're a comfortable move down from longboards or a move up from shortboards. For those learning to surf, they are also a great progression from foamies. Then of course there are those who want to emulate the likes of Torren Martin, Rob Machado, Craig Anderson, Devon Howard or Mikey February. Effortless, graceful and stylish. And if you're like me and getting on in years, ride shortboards and still want to surf, mid-lengths are like death and taxes, inevitable, unless you go straight to a longboard. A couple of things for sure. Mid-lengths up your wave count, and they're a hell of a lot of fun. Reasons enough to get a mid-length, but which one to choose? I've taken a look and can tell you, there are a hell of a lot of them out there. I've toyed with the idea of a mid-length for a few years now, particularly after I saw the review by Kevin Schulz of the Harley Ingleby Thunderbolt Mid-6. Just a flirtation with the idea though. At 7 foot, I thought it was too long for me. Then I found out how expensive it was. That was the end of that. But now it's time to re-examine them. If I was going to buy a mid-length, I wouldn't buy a traditional shape. Now more than ever, mid-lengths are being put out there as high-performance boards that suit bigger waves as well as small ones. But what is a mid-length? Most shapers agree that a mid-length sits between 6'8" and 7'6". I know there are surfboard makers pitching mid-lengths at shorter than 6'8". But are they mid-lengths really? Or are they just marketing efforts designed to capitalize on the ongoing mid-length trend? Step-ups might be a better way of describing those mid-lengths under 6'8". Traditionally, mid-lengths have a wider nose for more paddle power, fuller rails for more volume through the board, slightly flatter giving more planing area, and a wider tail for more lift and speed. High-performance mid-lengths, though, generally have attributes of a narrower nose, more rocker front and back, thinner rails, and a narrower tail. Rob Machado's inspiration for the Seaside and Beyond was to explore the world between a shortboard and a mid-length, looking for glide while still offering maneuverability. That was my inspiration too when I chose 6 boards to look at that minimum 6'8" for a mid-length. I still want the maneuverability of a short board while benefiting from the volume and length that will allow me to paddle easier and get into waves early. So let's look at the 6 boards I've picked out as a possible mid-length for me. Number 1 naturally is the Rob Machado Seaside and Beyond. It's sort of a stretched out version of the highly popular Seaside. Lots of volume, low entry rocker, a little rocker out of the tail, medium soft rails, single to double concave. The dims I'm looking at are 6'8" by 20 3/4, 2 5/8 for 40.9 litres. All the reviews of the well-established Seaside and Beyond are positive, and it's extremely popular. Designed for 1 to 5 foot surf skewed towards poor to average conditions, it works well in good conditions too. It's designed to be ridden as a quad. Watch Rob Machado ride it and you can see the maneuverability it offers. The number 2 mid-length for consideration is the JS Industries L Baron. Now I could have chosen the JS Big Baron as it's getting stellar reviews for its maneuverability. Willie at Willie TV loves this board. But I chose the JS L Baron because they are pitching it as more of a higher performance model than the Big Baron. The L Baron is narrower than the Big Baron with slightly more rocker and medium-low rails. It's got JS's reverse concave, which is essentially deeper under the front foot and shallower at the nose and at the tail for more water flow and maximum drive. It comes as a 5-fin for whatever fins you want to surf. The dims I'm looking at are 6.8 by 20.5 by 2 5/8 for 40 litres. There's not a lot out there about the L Baron, but being a refined version of the Big Baron, which gets rave reviews, I'm sure it'll win many friends over time. And being more of a high-performance mid-length, it's designed to work in bigger waves too. On to number 3, the Chili Mid-Strength. This board has been around for a while and another that has earned a good reputation. It's kept a more traditional fuller nose with a soft round tail. Chili said it's got low entry rocker with medium exit rocker. There's a slight single concave up front, blending to a single double concave out through the fins. Rails are performance oriented. Cale Brock highlighted the Chili Mid-Strength as one of his mid-length preferences in 2022. The dims I'm looking at, 6.8 by 20 3/8 by 2 5/8 at 40.9 litres. This board works well in small waves, but one reviewer I watched said it works well in up to 8 foot too. He attributed this to more entry rocker than the Chili website describes. I think the continuous curve probably helps it too. Another good mid-length option. I should note that James Cheel of Chili Surfboards has recently put out the Chili Full Strength, but I've discounted it because he said he's really designed this board for the mental-wise, and most of us don't ride waves like that regularly. Taking a moment, if you like this video, to ask you to like it and subscribe by hitting the subscribe button over there. It will help me keep up the momentum to make more videos like this. Moving on to option number 4, the Tolhurst Harley Ingleby Mid-6 Mini in Thunderbolt. Like most mid-lengths, this board has got a round pintail. It's got smooth rocker with a nose flip up front. The rails are neutral until the midpoint where they go hard all the way down to the tail. The point of difference with this board is the 6 channels in the bottom that give it that extra squirt. The Mid-6 Mini takes that high-performance mid-length Mid-6 to another level. Not a lot of reviews out there for this board, but after watching Harley Ingleby surfing it on a fairly hollow sandbar, I'm sold. He was shredding it, just like he was on a short board, but with more flow. Of course, he's Harley Ingleby. Now I'd have to say, he was probably on the 6.4 version of this board, whereas I'm looking at the 6.8 with dims of 20 1/4, 2 11/16 at 39 litres. It comes with 5 fin options, but it's often ridden as a quad. The website says that this board and the other Mid-6s dispel the idea that channels are only good for clean conditions. I've watched quite a few videos of this board in all sorts of conditions, and I'd have to agree. Number 5 of the mid-lengths I'm looking at, the Channel Islands M23. Like the Mid-6 Mini and the JSL Baron, the Channel Islands M23 is a high-performance successor to a previously highly popular iteration, in this case the Channel Islands Mid. The M23 is a high-performance hybrid for the widest possible range of conditions for many types of surfer. Sleeker outline, more volume, fuller rails, medium entry and exit rocker, fairly flat up front with a single concave, going to a double concave and a suggestion of a V, flattening out through the rounded pintail. Comes as a 3-fin setup. I'm looking at the 6.8, 20 3/4 by 2 3/4 by 41.9 litres. Good reviews on this board, paddles well, gets you into waves early, and like all high-performance mid-lengths, works in a range of conditions, riding like a high-performance short board with length. Number 6 and the last board I'm looking at is another hybrid, the Christensen Nautilus. Like the Machado Seaside and Beyond did with the Seaside, the Christensen Nautilus seems to take the renowned Christensen fish and stretch it. Chris Christensen doesn't like to give out much information about his surfboards. If you go to his website, there's minimal information about the Nautilus, apart from classic low rails and complex bottom contours. One reviewer said it's got a mid-rail, there's a B-cut front and it carries a lot of volume. It's got a fairly flat section with a single concave through to the middle of the board where a V starts and goes all the way through the end with double concave as well. It's all very subtle though and hard to read. I'm looking at the 6/8 by 20 3/4 by 2 5/8. Now the local board shop where I looked at this board and a number of the others that I'm talking about here had 39.9 litres on the Nautilus. Quite how they got that out of Chris Christensen I don't know, but I'll go with it. The reviews I've seen and a chat I've had with someone who owns a Nautilus seems to indicate that it works in bigger waves, but it does work in smaller waves too. The same could potentially be said of the Mid-6 Mini and the JS Baron. You can get the Nautilus in whatever fin setup you want, but it seems to work best as a quad. If you ride futures like me, you're probably going to have to custom order one of these boards. FCS seems to have sewn up many of the Australian surfboard manufacturers and they only offer FCS standard, although you might be lucky and find one of these boards with futures at your local board shop. So there you have it. If you want to catch more waves than on your shortboard, have fun and still have that shortboard maneuverability, here are 6 high-performance oriented mid-lengths or hybrids to consider. Number 1, the Machado Seaside and Beyond. Number 2, the JS Industries Baron. Number 3, the Chile Mid-Strength. Number 4, the Harley Ingleby Mid-6 Mini. Number 5, the Channel Islands M23. And number 6, the Christensen Nautilus. Which mid-length would I consider? I'd have to say the Harley Ingleby Mid-6 Mini in Thunderbolt looks really attractive. I'll just have to save my pennies up. Let me know your thoughts on these boards and others you think I should have looked at. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found the video useful. I'll see you again soon.